Hi everybody, and welcome to EDPS 502, Basic Concepts in Educational Psychology. I'm Elaine Starko, and I'll be your professor this semester. I need to start out with some thanks to Professor Ann Orr, who was originally scheduled to teach this class. Those of you who teach know that sometimes these last-minute reassignments happen, and I am extremely grateful that she allowed me to use her course shell. We will be using it largely as she developed it last year, with a few tweaks from me. But if I were not starting with that, I would be in a world of hurt at the moment. And in fact, right now I am recording this at my friend Ellen's house because we have no power at my house. It's just been that kind of a summer. So here we go. I'd like to, in this brief overview, just give you a quick look at the syllabus, at the course, and then talk just a little bit about what we're going to be doing for the rest of the semester. So as you can see, I hope, here is the basic front page of the class. The course is built in modules, so to navigate, you will start by clicking modules on the left, and let's see if we can make it go. It's being a little slow. There we go. Each module has a to-do list, and so if you click on the to-do list for each week, you'll know actually what you need to do. Here, you'll see the video introduction. Here, there's an optional introduction to me, which isn't posted yet, but I hope that we'll get that up there real soon, before you arrive anyway. You have an About Me assignment. You have an optional assignment to Skype with me. For many people, Skyping during the course of an online degree program can be a really useful thing, and particularly if you're unfamiliar with Skyping, this is a good chance to get your sort of Skype chops going. If you'd like to make an appointment to speak to me and practice on Skype, you can do that with this. Your textbook is listed here. This is going to be an interesting experience for me. This is the first time I've worked with a totally online textbook. It's by Seifert and Sutton. Dr. Orr pointed out to me that there are probably a few more typos in this online textbook than you will find in a published textbook because it probably doesn't go through quite as many editorial iterations. But the price is right for sure. It's free. And so we're going to be working with that. It also helps us with one of the things that's most tricky about this class, and that this class includes some people who have a great deal of background in educational psychology and some who have basically none. And so you'll find, especially in the Seifert and Sutton readings, that sometimes it'll say, read, skim, certain pages. And that would mean, if this is new content for you, read it. If you have seen EdPsych a lot before, you're quite familiar with some of the basic principles and organizational strategies, you could skim it. And so, as you see for this week, it'll say read, skim, and so that's what you'll do. You'll make a judgment based on your background. We'll also be reading a lot of research studies, so everybody's going to have some things that are new. At least I hope so. The syllabus can be found, not surprisingly, in the link labeled syllabus. And there's all of the normal things you would find in a syllabus. I don't need to read this to you. You've seen many syllabi before. But unlike paper syllabi in general, if you go all the way down to the bottom, all of the assignments for the class that you need to submit are there listed by due date. You can also find the due dates by clicking on the course calendar, or if we move all the way back up to the top here, we can also click on assignments and find them. So you have no reason not to know when something's due because all your assignments are listed. There we go. This is the assignments list in multiple places. You can notice, and this is probably as good a place as any to point it out, that there are several kinds of assignments. There are threaded discussions, and here's another discussion that needs to get moved under there. I can do that. There are reflections and activities, and these are short things, 2- and 3-point things that you'll do weekly, like little reflection assignments. There are some group conferences. This is going to be, for me, the most interesting and challenging part of this because it's more real-time conferencing that I do in most of my online classes. You'll see that we have 2 conferences labeled A and B. which are conferences that all of us will, we hope, attend together. And we'll do some doodling to find a time that works. And then the conferences 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 will be smaller group conferences where some of you will be leading real-time online discussions. Dr. Orr's students last year found this extremely helpful. They found that they felt they got a lot more in-depth understanding of the research article reading process through these conferences. So we're going to give it a shot and see if we agree. And then the biggest assignment here is your critical analysis paper, and you'll see there's a first draft, a final draft, and a topic place. So pretty much what you would expect, I would assume. I'd like to talk to you just for a moment about EdPsych in general. There we go, look, a welcome PowerPoint. EdPsych is very complex, and this is the other thing that is tricky about this class. We have the breadth and difference in background in the students, and then we also have a whole entire field, and we're trying to look at some of the big issues and big subdivisions within a very gigantic, complex network. Network's a good word. Let's look at the next slide, which is a little bit easier. When we think about educational psychology, Woolfolk, who is a major textbook writer, divides it into 3 general subdivisions. We talk about the learner and all of the things we know about how learners develop, how they're impacted by their surroundings, how they're impacted by their cultures, how their individual differences might impact their learning. We talk about learning and motivation and how those things develop in human beings and all of the various kinds of subconstructs. Self-efficacy, for example, grit, motivation, intrinsic, all of those things. We'll talk about those. And we talk about how all of those things interact with teaching and assessment, because this is educational psychology, which, as you might assume, is the educational subdivision of psychology writ large, psychology as a whole. Let's look at one more. Let's try to make it go. There we go. APA, the American Psychological Association, had a nice little paragraph about what educational psychology is. And generally speaking, I don't like to read things to people, but in this case, I'm going to make an exception. APA says, educational psychologists apply theories of human development to understand individual learning styles and inform the instructional process. While the interaction with teachers and students in school settings is an important part of their work, it isn't the only facet of the job. Learning is a lifelong endeavor. People don't only learn in school, they learn at work, in social situations, and even doing simple tasks like household chores or running errands. Psychologists working in this subfield examine how people learn in a variety of settings to identify approaches and strategies to make learning more effective. This is important in our program because not all of you are teachers. Many different people apply to our program, but everybody deals with teaching and learning in your own life, in the lives of people around you, and in almost any employment that you might have. I wanted to just show you, because the link won't work for some various technical reasons. This is where that came from. This is the educational psychology page of the American Psychological Association. And someday it might be something that might be just interesting for you to explore. Here's the nice little paragraph that I just read, but they also give you different examples of research and action, like, let's go back to that other one. Undoing dyslexia via video games. Well, that would be interesting to learn about. Or see the brain read. And at the bottom, there are some nice resources for students, for teachers, or for school counselors. And so, if you're interested in educational psychology, this might be a good website to explore. But in the meantime, there's this website. You have lots to take a look at and a lot to get going with. I'm really looking forward to this course. There's a lot of interesting things here. It just goes the breadth and depth of it, well, maybe the breadth anyway, of educational psychology, and allows me the chance to talk about so many interesting things. I'm looking forward to working with you and to learning more about being a talking head. Talk to you soon.